Hello again everybody, and a very warm welcome back to episode 2, the PMDG 737 tutorial series for Microsoft Flight Simulator. In effect, trying to get you guys, as I did, from 0 hours all the way through to the end of a flight, nice and confidently. So I hope you're enjoying the series so far. And as before, please do hit like, subscribe down below, and especially if you're fairly experienced with the 737 inside Microsoft Flight Simulator, do share your thoughts, tips and tricks in the comments below. As we taxi out, we'll have gone through a number of other checks, making sure the brakes, the gyro and a turn coordinator as well, if you've got that fitted, are all working correctly. And we've actually changed our takeoff configuration today. We're going to be departing with flaps 1 instead of flaps 5. So we've just mixed it up a little bit. We've resynced our V-speeds accordingly to takeoff performance required for flaps 1 instead. Nice long runway 06. If you're a short field for departure, something like Skiathos, you might choose something like flaps 15. In relation to Skiathos as well, and those short airfields, you'll need to go into the FMC, the FMS, and you'll need to go through the menu page to change the equipment setup, and you'll need to make sure you've enabled the short field performance package too. Passing the windsock then, as we make our way towards the hold point, you can see we've got a little bit of a crosswind, so that's going to make it interesting. We'll make sure we've got a bit of aileron into wind. We'll take that into account. Visice 3 Echo departure for this one in particular, and the before takeoff checklist then. If we're at the hold and we're just sitting there, we'd go parking brake set. We're going to go fuel flow, watch the FF there, reset, back to rate. Centre fuel pumps as required, but as we've discussed earlier, they're both on 0, we don't need to worry about that. De-ice as required, and cabin lights as required. Making sure we've got full left, right, forwards and backwards on the stick. We've got good aileron and elevator authority, and we haven't got any jammed controls. Takeoff data, we're going to make sure we've checked that, make sure our V-speeds are accurate and input as we need them to be. And we'll just make sure our elevator trim is set as well. It is. There's our new V-speeds and our new takeoff performance page that we just mentioned. Nav equipment check. We've got VOS 1 set to Prague, outbound 061, which is the runway heading, but we're kind of going to ignore that one. VOR 2 is set to the Visice VOR. We're going to try and intercept an inbound course of 159 degrees. But it's an RNAV departure. It's just a bit of a visual reference for us after takeoff. So, taxi lights off, runway turn lights on, landing lights on. We're going to flick this across from steady to strobe and steady, which is going to then activate the strobe lights. Down at the bottom in the centre pedestal, transponder to TARA. TFC, which is at the bottom here, from the centre of this dial. Click that to turn TCAS on, or the traffic mode on, and we're going to then start the clock. We're going to make sure we've got anti-skid set to RTO, and we've got the spoiler armed. So what we're going to do is we're going to line up, we're going to use as much of the runway as possible, and initially we're going to set about 30 or so % N1. We're going to let the engine stabilise. What we will then potentially see is a drop in the EGT, and when we do see the drop with the M1 stable, that will be the engine stabilised. So at that point we're going to hit the little screw here where the cursor is next to the course dial, and that is going to activate our TOGA mode. Nice little key bind spot for us there, little click spot. So we've got the nose wheel straight. So we're ready to go. We're using as much of the runway as possible, and we've planned for our departure too. Make sure we've got our charts ready as well, so we can refer to them if we need to as we depart. A little bit of forward pressure on the yoke there till about 80 knots, and we're going to set about 30% N1. We'll let the engine stabilise. There's a little drop in the EGT, and we're going to then release the brakes and we're going to hit TOGA. We're going to get some call outs as well, thanks to a co-pilot giving us the V speeds.
Airspeed's alive.
Maintain the centre line. 80 knots, so we're now going to release the pressure from the nose wheel, neutralise the control column, centralise it.
V1.
Rotate.
V2. Positive rate of climb.
15 degrees initially. We're going to go gear up. And then we're going to aim to try and follow the flight directors. And away we go. We're airborne. When we're happy, we can then click CMDA to enable the autopilot, and we've got LNAV and VNAV already armed and auto throttle armed. There goes N1 mode, that's now active, and there's a little warning on the PFD for the middle marker. Once we get to 1,000 foot above ground level, which is what we've got set here for our departure data, variable of course depending on where you go, the aeroplane will start to accelerate, the nose will generally come down. We've got positive rate of climbs, gears up, and it's stopped moving as well, so we can turn that to the off position. Auto brake can be switched to off now. Engine start switches can go to the off position. Runway turn lights be turned off, and cabin lighting as required. We're past the flaps 1 speed now, so we're going to retract the flaps and we'll go clean. And we'll continue climb up to above A transition, but B above 10,000 feet. In fact, we'll go all the way up to our cruise. We'll just set 350 today. Like so. A couple of tips that I've got throughout all the videos that I've watched. If you're 3,000 below, go to vertical speed, set 3,000. If the aeroplane's climbing above that, so 3,500 for example, you can go to vertical speed mode, set 3,000, 2,000 to go, set 2,000 vertical speed, and 1,000, set 1,000 vertical speed, and it will smooth out that top of climb. That's one of the nice tips that I've seen on various videos. Transition here is 6,000. We're going to climb through that though, and we've been given flight level 350 by ATC as an example, so let's click standard pressure, and that then goes to standard. And then we can quite simply enjoy A, the cabin views, B, the aeroplane, and we can monitor all the systems as we go, flying any direct twos that might be required, and all that sort of thing too. Nice and easy. Hope you've enjoyed this quick tutorial. Hope it all makes sense. Again, share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit subscribe, click the like button, and join me for the next episode, which is going to focus on descent into Skiathos and our landing there with a short field touchdown too. Thanks for watching. See you soon.